I know I said I would fall back on making content for a while, and I still am, but this is one video, one message I had to get out here and just let it be known, right? Because when people die, we're supposed to pay our respects, right? That's the intention. Some people will go as far to celebrate one's death, to basically slander their entire legacy because of one disagreement or because of a misconception they probably have of that person. And when I look through these social media streets and people, slandering Charlie Kirk's name, you have to understand something. This guy has a grieving wife. He left a whole family behind. His children are going to have to grow up without a father now. And that's never an easy thing to do. This guy was 31. And if I can be blunt by saying this, he died fulfilling his purpose. Debating was something that was his passion. And he died debating. He died doing what he loved to do. There's a lot of people that speak very highly of this guy. And I did not know of him until he passed away, until he was assassinated. So I had to do a background search, look up some videos, listen to what he was actually talking about. And one thing I can confirm is that Charlie Kirk was an advocate for helping young men find their purpose. He was an advocate to help young men, right? To motivating, inspiring them to do better, to follow Christ, to seek a relationship with Christ, and overall came across as a positive figure, positive role model for a lot of young men. Regardless of what your disagreements are with him, a lot of people will say he's a white supremacist, a nationalist, that he's racist. And I don't see the correlation with that at all. I don't see how he's racist. I listened to a couple of his debates, and so far I have yet to be offended. As a black man, I've yet to be offended. I don't share the same hate like everyone else does. Just because you have an agenda or you have bitterness in your heart for an individual, that does not mean I have to share that same bitterness. I have my own mind at the end of the day. And maybe there are things that he said in the past that could have been wrong, that could have been incorrect. But at the end of the day, he seemed to be debating fairly. He gave black people an open microphone to debate with him on these issues in America. From what I heard and understand, he helped a lot of black people. He's helped out, give them opportunities. And his message to Black America was to hold themselves accountable, to not be victims just because they're black, just because of slavery for 400 years, just because that happened. That does not mean that we don't take life in our own hands. That doesn't mean that we have to wait for a handout or we have to wait for something being owed to us because we're black. We're not entitled to anything in this world. I've learned this as a black man in my own walk in life. I am not entitled to nothing. Anything I want out of this life, I have to earn it with hard work. And guess what? If I'm not qualified, I'm not qualified. So I don't understand the gripe, the hate, the bitterness behind this man at all. It seems to me that when he passed away, that a lot of people came out the woodwork and destroying this man's reputation and his name. And I think that's nasty work at the end of the day. Social media to me is a fake place. It's toxic. It's a breeding ground for savages, online savages. It's a breeding ground for demons. And it exposes people's true intentions. It exposes people's true feelings, right? It exposes a lot of their hatred. There's a lot of racism on social media. And I've been noticing that for a couple months now. And it's like, it's mind-boggling to me. It takes this guy to pass away, to be assassinated, for you to show your true colors. For a lot of you to destroy and slander his name. It's like, where was all these opinions? Where was all this bitterness? Where was all this vitriol toward Charlie Kirk before? Where was all this before he was alive? If you knew of him, then you had pre-existing hatred and bitterness already in your heart toward the guy. For me, I did not know this guy until he was assassinated. That's why I'm taking the time to look into this guy for myself and look at videos where he's debating, different race of people, different races and nations of people. From my own discernment, Charlie Kirk seemed like a person that was standing firm on his faith in Christ, standing firm in traditions, family traditions, the American way of living, standing firm on his morals and ethics. And I don't get the vibe that he was a racist. I don't get that energy at all. Like I said, this guy came across that he was an advocate for younger men, to help propel them, to help them become something more, to be an example, right? Because you look at his family, his wife, his kids, you look at the people around him. He may have had really good people around him that were on point, but he could have also had some snakes in the grass too. That's life. You're always going to have some snakes in the grass. But if you look at the people that were around him, that were close to him, that spoke highly of him, you got to pay attention to a man's fruit. Pay attention to how other people that are close to him, how they speak of him when he's dead. Not the people that don't know him that well. They just had a debate with him, or they just heard of him, or they watched a video of him. They don't know him for real. Those people don't know anything because they haven't been around that individual to see for themselves. And they're just a lot of people are just using their platform to spew hatred, to spew division. And, they're just throwing around their bitterness, throwing around, their hatred for others at the end of the day. And my job on this platform is to not spew no hate, to not throw no division, to not slander a person's name or legacy because I may have a disagreement with one of their viewpoints. At the end of the day, he was somebody that came with common sense and common logic, and it was hated. His ways and viewpoints were looked down upon by people that did not agree with him, did not agree with his viewpoints or his convictions. And I saw nothing wrong with his viewpoints at the end of the day. But I'm just going to end it off by saying social media, once again, it exposes a lot of people's hatred and bitterness that they have in their heart. They use social media to do their dirt, to be emotional, and they try to create a whole community of people to hate on that person, to go against that person, like a mob, like an angry mob, that they want to get together to destroy somebody's legacy and destroy their name. And I think it's pathetic. I really do. Instead of using the community to help build one another up, to, iron sharpens iron, to motivate, inspire each other, we choose to tear each other down.